Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. This is host Sri Iyer and I'm joined by the co-host 𝙒𝙧𝙤𝙪𝙥𝙥. This is episode 363 of Daily Global Insights, and we have a lot of developments that are taking place today even as we speak, and we'll be able to cover a few, but we will be able to do more justice tomorrow. So let's welcome our co-host 𝙒𝙧𝙤𝙪𝙥𝙥. Sridharji, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel.
Namaskar, good morning, and welcome to all, and namaskar, and very happy to be here.
Sridharji, let's start with G7. The G7 is going all in with Ukraine to counter Russia. And in the meantime, now Russia is saying that they can open Nord Stream 2 to allow gas and crude. So what is going on, sir? This is a complicated piece of game of chess going on.
Very complicated piece of chess game that is going on. First, G7. I think if people get an opportunity, you must try and read the press release and the joint statement issued by the 7 most powerful nations called as G7. Effectively, they have condemned Russia, offered all support to Ukraine, to provide support militarily, security-wise, financially, legally, and other methods. I've never seen even a UN resolution as powerful as the G7's joint statement, obviously led by United States. I would be very surprised if a couple of other nations would have, but then they went ahead with the G7 with the total resolution. This only means that they have no intent to negotiate, and somehow they believe they can bring Vladimir Putin to the heels, and I don't believe that's going to happen.
You know, Sridharji, I couldn't agree with you more. And if you look back at history, the first 2 world wars were fought for energy. And guess where we are headed? One more energy crisis. However, some help may be coming along the way, and I'm going to show you a graphic, and Sridharji will explain all about it. Sridharji, take it away, sir.
Great. One of the areas which has been under dispute, where work has been going on, is as you would guess, is around the Israel, Lebanon in the Mediterranean. So you have this area which is disputed between Lebanon and Israel. And there is a fine line demarcation. And I think we have tried to encapsulate that in the graph that you see here. And what you are witnessing here is, this is in the maritime, I'm not talking about the land, I'm talking about the sea. You can see the border according to Israel, and the border according to Lebanon is the gray area, is the brown gray area. Right around there are very renowned, or they found 3 specific gas fields, Tamar, Dalit, and Leviathan. Tamar is very notable because it has got something close to 13 million cubic feet of gas, which could be a very important source. So this has been mediated by United States, and what Israel has secured by virtue of this deal is a security guarantee plus the protection of the border by virtue of the deal signed with Lebanon. We will have more details in terms of what the revenue sharing and some of the things are. So it looks like Lebanon and Israel have come together to sign this deal. Now, more details to follow as to why this sudden development, but it's a positive development. And their goal is to supply natural gas, obviously exported to Europe as the first port of destination.
And looks like Russia has resumed bombing of cities in Ukraine. Sridharji, I'm trying to find out what exactly is Russia's intent, because now it's 6 months plus, and one estimate said that Russia was using up 40,000 shells per day, sir. 40,000 shells per day. Now they're using a different method. They're going Patriot-based attack. But again, they're going to start running out of this also. And now, they're going after civilian spots, sir. They have taken out the power grid for half of Ukraine. I'm trying to find out what is the end game Putin has in mind.
Putin is very clear. He is not prepared to negotiate. he believes Ukraine is an integral part of Russia. And one other thing that has happened is he has allowed Ukrainians to come get residency permits and work in Russia. So he's very clear. He doesn't believe Ukraine should have ever existed as a separate country. So he therefore is not prepared to negotiate. Second, this second day of airstrikes or the missile strikes that occurred is close on the heels of the G7 statement. So G7 has issued a statement, which we talked about earlier. And in response, what does Russia do? Russia attack. Now, there are two questions here. One, has he given a unilateral order, or some of these orders are a little dated and you are seeing some of these attacks spawn out as a result of that? While this goes on, Mr. Lavrov, Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, has announced or has made a statement in the Russian television saying that if West is prepared to sit down and discuss, he is prepared to come to the table and discuss, which Biden has dismissed outright, calling it as rhetorical or red herring.
Now, Australia has weighed in saying that there is no way China can become part of the CPTCP or something like that. CPTPP, I'm sorry, Trans-Pacific. Third one, I don't know what the other P is. So this CPTPP, Australia says there is no way China can become a member of that. Sir, how can China be a member of TPP? The TPP's whole plan was to exclude China, isn't it?
Well, as you can, you remember, we covered this in the earlier Global Insights, probably a few months ago. China has some supporters. They have supporters from Cambodia. They have support from Myanmar. They have support from some of the ASEAN nations, including Indonesia. They probably have a neutral support from Singapore. And you remember, Taiwan, UK, and China are the applicants, and UK will get its entry into CPTPP. This is again another policy decision which is coming from, coming from Biden administration as the only way Australia will step up and say, we outrightly decline the membership unless there is consensus. China cannot make it into CPTPP. What is the result of all this? I think what we are seeing is, as you rightly pointed out, what is reminiscent of World War I and World War II, geographical and political split around policies and philosophies between the world, one in the Russia-China camp, one in the current United States camp. That's what we are witnessing. And this doesn't help the geopolitical situation or economic stability in any way, Shriji.
So I figured out TPP, it is Trans-Pacific Partnership. I still don't know what the CP part is. Hopefully you can decode that, sir. Now, the other thing is a very important development. TSMC shares dropped 8% on a new policy that United States has drawn up. Sridharji, why is this and how does China get affected by it?
Well, one of the several self-inflicting wounds is, we have got a shortage of chips, which is fundamental towards the auto industry, which is fundamental towards the electronic industry, which is fundamental towards many other kind of adjacent industries, which is reliant on this thin silicon wafers. So the Biden administration has enacted a policy whereby if you are supplying chips to any company which is associated with Chinese military, then that particular company will be banned from exporting those to the so-called Western allied nations. Now remember, TSMC has a plant in China. Okay, so will China openly declare, I'm buying this for military? No, it comes through covert programs. So TSMC potentially faces consequences of the ban resulting from this if it is got factories located in China, whereas factories in Japan, which they are building, if they have a factory in United States, which is catering to the needs, then TSMC will not be, those factories will be exempted. So given its footprint in China and the exposure, there is a fear that TSMC will be impacted. And so the market recognizes that, and then the market goes takes a punt on TSMC. Just for I mean, we have shared this before. TSMC is one of the top 10 market capitalization institutions in the world. So it has a significant kind of an impact. This is another self-inflicted wound at the wrong time, which impacts industries when industries are trying to get out of the COVID crisis.
Sir, where do I start listing the Chinese companies with military connections, sir? ZTE, Huawei. I don't know, sir. The 90% of the Chinese mega companies will be captured by this definition. I mean, I'm just, it's blanket.
I think I wish we can speak with some of the people within Biden administration to calibrate what exactly is the framework for all these decisions and whether they have actually simulated the consequences of their decisions and the impact to the global economic system. I'm sure they have not.
And now Hong Kong has hit back at the United States for allowing Russian tycoon Alexei Mordashov's 142-meter long nod on the city's harbor. So this is now, all these little games that, people start playing. I'm going to try and see how far I can stretch this thing. US could have just kept quiet and, quietly done something to that ship. Oops, did we hit you? Now, I don't know.
Well, as I say to you, where do we stop in terms of the self-inflicted wounds? Now, Hong Kong is a very important financial hub. It's a very important trading hub. Vast amount of goods flow through and flow out of Hong Kong. Okay, as an intermittent point, very similar to Singapore. Biden administration has threatened that it will lose the preferred status that it enjoys today. Another financial consequence to this silly decision, which is you're supporting Russia, therefore we're going to get you to lose status. And Russia says, thank you so much. And China says, thank you so much. This is exactly what we wanted. Now, no more will support anything because you inflicted this wound on us. So I just don't know whether you want to pick every fight everywhere in the world and go on making such decisions is prepondering to assume that who is sitting and making these, I would call quite silly and irrelevant decisions, within the Biden administration. Wait, we will announce one more tomorrow, which is to come, which is much more significant relative to what we have been discussing thus far.
Now, Israel says that it has got written permission, written guarantee from the United States as far as the security of Israel is concerned with reference to this gas pipeline that we talked about. So that means Israel has kind of made sure that the big boy is on board. Now, you have to see this latest set of development that have been happening on India because of one thing that India did, refused to toe the line of the West with Russia. I commend Prime Minister Modi for that because he would have foreseen all that is happening now. You saw Germany start passing some remarks about Kashmir, and now you had the ambassador of United States go visit Pak-occupied Kashmir. Sridharji, there is one other subtext line going on. I'll let you finish the main story, sir, and then I'll ask you the subtext.
The two important data points. United States still doesn't have an ambassador or high commissioner ambassador for India in India. It doesn't.
Right. I think India has been pushing back on all the candidates.
Yeah, so it doesn't. So now you have the ambassador to Pakistan.
You should put your hat, sir.
I refuse to comment on that. But anyway, so to go back to Pakistan. So you have the Pakistan ambassador. U.S. ambassador to Pakistan visiting the POK area, calling it as POK or whatever,
Azad Kashmir, he said.
Azad Kashmir. And he says his visit has to do with promoting, fostering, cultural and other types of ties between a normalized relationship with Pakistan. This is close on the heels of the visit of Ilhan Omar. She had visited recently when Imran Khan was still the prime minister. So this is again a very interesting development. While Biden administration is egging on India, the last thing that you want to do is do this. This just simply tells you, for those who probably may know it already or may not know it, if you don't know it, Biden administration has got a number of advocacy groups within it, which all help Biden Democrats to come to power. You have Iranian, you have a Pakistani, you have Council for this relations, Council for that relations. So you have a whole cluster of advocacy groups. I mean, United States runs on advocacy groups and what you call as the political sympathizers. So you have a number of groups. So depending on which day, which advocacy groups is hearing, you have a policy decision that's coming out. So that is why you are seeing this mix and mishmash of actions that is coming out, and nothing seems kind of coherent. One day you are with Quad, one day you are with Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. Next day you are critiquing India on this Kashmir issue and bringing it to the surface. Whether it's a media play or whether it's a policy play, we don't know. But it certainly is not putting Biden administration in good light.
Now, U.S. Treasury Secretary tells United States is doing well amid a global economic uncertainty. This is still Janet Yellen, right, Sridharji?
It is. She is. By the way, welcome to Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary. She is surfaced back to support, which is to say,
I know.
When did we hear last, Sri, from our Treasury Secretary? We don't know.
Yes.
So she says, well, economy is okay, is resilient. But we have inflation. Our focus is on inflation. We haven't, but the inflation numbers today, the wholesale price index has gone up in September relative to what they predicted. We'll cover that more tomorrow in the interest of time.
Yes. And the IMF forecasts a global growth to not exceed 2.3% for the entire year of 2023. That was our last item. Please do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. If you liked our research, consider donating to us using the super thanks button. Sridharji, thank you so much, sir. And we'll be back again tomorrow, hopefully at 5:30 p.m. Today we had a bit of a technical difficulty, my fault. And we'll be back tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Namaskar.
Namaskar. It's not just Sri Iyer's fault, it is joint fault. We are co-hosts, so therefore we share the blame equally and proportionately, not disproportionately. Thank you, Sriji, and have a wonderful evening or have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye.